Hey, what's up? This is Tim with Studio 4 Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at creating this moon inside of Maya. And this tutorial is a similar tutorial like the one we did with the Earth, where we create a realistic Earth, except this is more of a beginner tutorial. The one where we created the Earth is a intermediate to advanced tutorial. So if you're newer to Maya, check out this tutorial first, and then go look at that Earth tutorial if it was kind of harder to follow along with. And this one should be able to give you some more basics of what we're doing before you go into that one. So you can see here we have our moon, and it looks pretty good, but we'll go ahead and just delete this and start up. So this is what we'll have if we have a new scene. And what I'm going to do is just create a sphere, polygon sphere, and drag it on the grid. I had somebody ask me the other day, if you don't want to drag on the grid, if you want to just push the button and the sphere appears, how can you do that? And the answer is if you go to Create and Polygon Primitives, or NURBS Primitives, it's the same thing. Go down here to this checkbox, Interactive Creation. If you uncheck that, you just push it, it'll go ahead and just create it for you. But if you have that checked, that's when you're going to want to, or that's when it's going to make you drag on the grid in order to create your object. So we'll go ahead and hit 6 to enter our textured mode. And here we have the sphere. And I'm just going to leave it where it is. It doesn't really matter where it's at in space, but I am going to scale it up just a little bit. Now one thing I want to do right off the bat is I want to increase the resolution of this sphere. So if I go in here to the channel box, and if you can't see the channel box, it's going to be up here on the top. There's the attribute editor, and this is the channel box. So if it's just blank like this on your screen, just click this button to open up the channel box, and then we're going to be using the attribute editor as well, so go ahead and open that one up, and you can switch between them here. So in the channel box, we'll scroll down to our inputs, hit the polysphere 1, that's what we just created, and we're going to change our subdivisions from 20 to 50 on both of those. So we're just going to increase our resolution a little bit. And then we're going to take our object, and we're going to right click. There's a couple different ways you can do this. This is probably the easiest way, and this is the one I like to use. You're going to right click on it, and we're going to assign a new material. But we're going to actually assign one of our favorite materials, and that's going to be a Lambert. And then you let go of your right click, and it'll assign that Lambert to the sphere. Now what I'm going to do is under the color tab, I'm going to hit the option box over here, and we're going to apply a new node to the color tab. We're going to apply a file node. So we're going to be opening up one of our textures, and the texture is our moon texture. So if you download the project files from our website, it'll have a moon texture as well as a project file with everything already completed, so you can use that for reference. And we'll just click this moon texture and hit open. Now you can see right away we have this moon texture applied to our sphere, and it looks pretty good actually right off the bat. If we render this out, let me change my render settings real quick. I think I have it set pretty high. If we render this out right off the bat, it looks pretty good. But we can do some things to make it look better. So I'm using Maya hardware, and that's what I would use too, just for this basic tutorial. What we're going to do is we're going to apply a bump map to this. So we're going to select our sphere, scroll down to something called bump mapping, and we're going to click this option box, and we're going to apply the exact same file that we just applied to our sphere. So we're going to go to File 6 up at the top here, click Image Name, and just apply the moon file. Now right away you're going to say, whoa, this is really bumpy. If we render this out, it's going to look nothing like a moon, but it's going to be, you know, really just the wrong depth is what it really is. So we can change this. We're going to select our sphere, and we're going to go to the bump mapping, and we're going to go to the options, and what we need to do is we need to click go over to our output connection. So we'll click this, and our output connection right now, our bump depth, is set to 1. We need to lower this way down. We're going to set it to a value of 0.03. Hit enter. And that brings it down to where you still have some bumping, so it gives it some depth, but it's not over the top. Now if we render this out, you'll notice, okay, we still get some of those nice bumps right here, and it's kind of faded off along the edges, which is exactly what we want, and it's starting to look really good. The next thing we can do is we can apply some lighting to our scene. So I'm going to go to Create, Lights, and create an directional light. Then I'm going to hit 7 on the keyboard, and that's going to bring up my lighting display, and it'll show what it looks like whenever it's lit, when we render it out. So this is where we can do some really cool different lighting techniques and get it to look like the moon in the sky. So something like this. And what we want to do is we actually want to go into the color and change it from white to more of a orangish, slight orange, slight yellow color to more resemble the sun than just a straight up white light. So we'll render this out, and that's starting to look pretty good. Not bad. But I think this might be a little bit too hot of a light. So to get an intensity here, we're going to lower this down to a value of 0.7 and re-render this back out. And you notice this is starting to look really good. One thing also we can do is we can rotate this sphere to get to an area in our moon that we like with the textures. So I like this area right here. We kind of see these craters coming out, and maybe we'll rotate it to give it more of an interesting look. Like that. Rotate it up. So you still have some nice bumping up here in the top, but then this area is nice and flat. It gives it some different contrast, a different look. So something like this I like. And we will re-render this back out and see what we get. And that looks really good to me. That looks like the moon. So what we can do is let's also duplicate this light. So we're going to go to Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac. You're going to notice the light is in the same direction and at the same intensity, so it's just going to double what we already have. But we want to rotate this one on the opposite side, like so. And we want to lower the intensity to a value of 0.3 and then change the color from this orangey color to more of a blue hue color. So something more like this. And if we do that, and this intensity might be too much still, but we can render this out and see. You notice we have, okay, so this is lit here by the sun, and this is what's left over, kind of lit by the sky. So if we, let's maybe make this more like that, and even lower the intensity of our other light to value of 0.2, and change that direction just a little bit. You just want to barely light up this area right here so it's not completely covered up. Something like that is starting to look really good. And it depends on what look you're going for. You know, if you want the look where it's just like a half moon or whatever, then you can get rid of this secondary light, this fill light, and just have it however you want. You know, you can really be as creative as you want with this. This is the general technique that we use for our Earth tutorial. We go into a little bit more depth of shading and how you can create realistic things such as atmosphere. But for those of you that were having some problems, some people emailed me and asked a whole bunch of questions, and it seemed that you guys needed a more basic tutorial, just how to set this up, you know, just connecting nodes together and just different textures. The key is really in the textures. This is a high quality texture, and so that's what gives it that realistic look, and you can see here it's starting to look really good. I'm going to go also into our render settings. So up here, just click on this button here, and it'll open up our render settings, and I'm going to change the image size to a little bit higher. I'm going to make this an HD 1080, so it's 1920 by 1080. Close out of here and then hit render, and then we should be getting a really nice quality moon image. And really you can use this in conjunction with the Earth tutorial and have a moon and an Earth and make yourself a little sweet desktop background or something. But anyway, I thought this would be helpful for those of you that were having some problems with that Earth tutorial, and hopefully this helps. If you have any questions about this tutorial, give me an email or whatever. Contact me through the website, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. Again, this is more for beginners, so I'm sorry for those of you that are a little bit more advanced and this is like basic stuff, but we want to make sure we have tutorials for everybody of all different skill ranges. So yeah, this is all I got for you guys today, and I will see you on the next tutorial.